Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
You don't always have time to build a whole new world from scratch. Good news is, you don't have to. From Greyhawk to Ravenloft, and plenty in between, there are lots to choose from. And nothing says you can't hop between them, because that's the spell we're casting tonight on Casters Guild. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Casters Guild. I am your guild master and planeswalker, Rick Perry.
And I am your guild master, Baron Estularis Mythos, Kane.
And joining us again are two returning guild members. Feel free to introduce yourselves.
All right. Hi. I know. I'm like, there's two of us now.
Fight amongst yourselves.
I'm Ryan Seguin. Previously, I guess, a tabletop podcaster in my own right. And I used to be an officially registered RPGA GM.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, buddy.
Me three.
Oh, were you RPGA?
Yeah.
Nice.
For 4th edition.
And I'm Boblin, the Goblin.
He's so far away. Look at him.
No, but I'm Anthony. I'm my name's Anthony. I'm with the I'm a friend of the show and also a member of the guild, member of the Casters Guild. I am also one of the directors and Goblin War Chief of the Phantom Encounter Table, Project FET for short. Definitely not a sex thing unless you ask nicely.
All right, and tonight we're talking campaign settings for Dungeons & Dragons, or realms, if you will, planes of existence in the world of Dungeons & Dragons, because, you know, we all have that fantasy of Dungeons & Dragons of, like, creating our own homebrew world and running an entire campaign through it, but we're adults, we have jobs, it's not always feasible, so sometimes you need to pick up a campaign setting book or pick up a pre-made module and run it, and we're here to talk a little bit about what that's like and what the different campaign settings are like. So let's start with the easy question. What's your favorite campaign setting?
I mean, campaign setting, I mean, I'm a basic bitch when it comes to this. Faerun is super easy. It's not what I'm comfortable with. It's something I can just like throw in there and be confident with any lore or anything like that I happen to want to, abide by. I can make it sound like I know what I'm talking about only because it's something I'm more comfortable with. So probably out of necessity, that is going to be my favorite.
That's completely fair. For me, it depends, because like realistically, my favorite's probably Eberron.
Eberron's really good.
Yeah, Greyhawk has a special place in my heart because of the Living Greyhawk years, though. That was that period of time when Wizards was when official play was actually affected by the players, or the players affected the lore of the world. So depending on like where you lived determined what part of Greyhawk you affected. And so that one, because not enough people defended the greater Maryland area, that particular our designated part of Greyhawk got absolutely trashed and is canonically forever overrun by giants because not a single one of us could roll. But like
an entire state with the Will Wheaton curse. Right.
Well, so setting wise, Eberron's my favorite. But yeah, Greyhawk is that setting for me that like I could rattle off and just anything that you needed, the most obscure shit off the top of my head. And, I got to say that because my characters just did nothing but show up and die every week, that it's now canon that we suck ass. So it's great.
So full disclosure, I know dick all about Greyhawk. So I'm actually kind of interested in what is. Can you explain more about what this regional effect on the world? Like, what do you mean?
Sure. So in the 3.0 days, so in the
Mhm.
like 3.0 came out what, December 2000, and 3.5 was middle of 03, right? So
Yeah, my
in
first
the
game I ever played was 3.0, but I think it was homebrew. But I can't. I mean, if it was Greyhawk, it could have been. They could have just said, "Yeah, this is homebrew." I'm like, "Yep, I believe you."
Did
Sure.
third edition not get released during Gen Con?
No, it
I,
didn't.
I swear I was at Gen Con. Maybe that's just what I got my.
That's fair.
It also could have been a beta or something like that beforehand, or something like that, where like they were doing like a play test at like
Yeah.
Gen Con.
Like, so when they were doing organized play, every area, every store got sent the same adventures, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But each GM was told in different areas to like use different monsters all within the same CR range for different encounters. So depending on where you lived, and so like GMs were required to fill out a mission sheet and fax that to wizards and say like, yeah, these are the number of people that died, these are the number, this is how well they did, and so on and so forth. And basically Wizards collated all of the statistical data from all of the adventures that we ran and changed the different respective parts of Greyhawk, because every part of Greyhawk corresponded to a different geographical location during that period of time. But it was like, setting wise, it's the setting that was the D&D default for a long time. It's very similar to Faerun, and they kind of reference it a lot in the 5th edition material now, because like,
Yeah, they did a Ghost Assault March, which is in Greyhawk, isn't it? Or it's primarily in Greyhawk.
yeah, and they did the I cannot remember the name of the adventure, but the Temple of Elemental Evil was originally a Greyhawk thing. Like, a Sararak is on the Dungeon Master's Guide, and like literally his campaign where you have to go down into the jungle and fight him. It has a little blurb where it's like, yeah, he was defeated in Greyhawk, so he dimension hopped to Faerun to try again. But
Can
like,
you imagine, like, just having a because that 3.0 was like was the game. They were like, the TSR was like on their way out, right?
Yeah, so second edition,
if not already completely out.
Well,
yes.
I think that they were getting 4th edition kind of squared away, and then like Wizards was like, or like they had the preliminary talks about it, and then Wizards kind of came in and was like, no, we're buying you, and also we're going to do 3.5 because third edition has some kinks that we want to square away. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So the Wizards acquisition was in the late 90s, and
Mhm.
Wizards owned Dungeons and Dragons for the final like 3 years of 2nd edition. And
My timeline is
3.0,
fucked then.
it's all good. And like 3.0 was the first official like Wizards edition of D&D, and that was but a lot of the folks that worked at TSR worked on 3rd edition, and they mentioned this on like a Dragon podcast like years ago, where they said that basically 3rd edition was all the stuff that they wanted to do in 2nd but couldn't, because like they didn't want to do THAC0, but THAC0 was their way of making the math not suck, but also everything still be compatible with all of the 1st edition material.
Yeah.
And so with 3rd edition, they were like, we don't have to make it compatible anymore. We can do whatever we want. And then that turned out to be not so great. And Wizards, being owned by Hasbro and having a whole lot of success with this little game called Magic the Gathering.
I've never heard of it. What is it called? What's that about?
It's not good.
Do they also have a realm?
They've got a couple.
Oh,
Yeah, Ravnica. Yeah, Strixhaven.
Ravnica, she sounds hot.
But yeah, then like Wizards up until 5th came out had like an edict to please Hasbro. They were like, we got to have a book a month. And so like campaign settings were born practically overnight, over and over again for 3rd, because they were like, we got to do something. And that's where Eberron came from, because Eberron was like a fan submission contest, and Keith Baker won because Eberron was so good.
Just can you imagine, like, I don't know, like, I'm thinking of Greyhawk and like what you're talking about with the regional aspects of being kind of like giving to that lore, the actual lore of the that's insane.
So, like,
Just-
for instance,
especially in the 90s before like fiber internet and everything like that, right? You had to literally fax this stuff in.
Yeah.
It's just some guy just like writing stuff down feverishly.
your region would be the Bandit Kingdoms, Anthony.
Oh, that tracks.
Uh,
Even Austin? I mean, I could see that in East. No,
all
no.
of Texas,
okay.
and Oklahoma.
Yeah, that tracks, I guess.
Ohio was Voluna, so
I don't know what that is. Voluna is
I only played 3 games, and I'll tell you why once
okay.
it gets to my turn.
sure.
But yeah, there's so many regions, and I do have to say that was the biggest draw to that was the whole regions and affecting it and stuff like that.
Now that
They
I know
tried
this,
to do that. They tried to do that with 4th edition for the RPGA as well. Because I remember, but it was all Forgotten Realms.
Mhm.
And so, like, the Virginia, Maryland area, like middle East Coast, was all Cormier. I remember because I used to have to run it. And back when I was known as the Herald for the RPGA.
Wait, you got
And
titles too?
Oh,
yeah,
dude, it was leveled. Like you had to start by taking an open note test on the internet, and then if you wanted to go up, you had to like run a certain number of games, and then have like an in-person test with someone that was like registered above you. It was a pyramid scheme for DMs. And
I mean, no, that is some
but
like
they didn't it didn't really cost money though. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember paying any money.
it just cost time.
no, it was just a fuckload of
knowledge.
time.
That is some like hierarchy bullshit that I would totally feed into. Like I would get hyper focused. Honestly, like I'm already pulling up stuff as we speak. This is oh no, you know what you've done to me.
You have people to this day bragging about, oh, I was a grandmaster level GM.
Uh-huh.
Like-
Well, depending on if you're in the Midwest or not, that might not be the best thing to. Or well, no,
True.
True. Is dead. Never mind. Just kidding. Moving past that subject.
Weirdly enough, they played a wizard and never mind.
You got like points and like you got like free minis and shit and adventures for your home games depending on your level, and like if you were a higher level you got more points for your contribution and stuff.
We need to contact Chris Perkins. Say, Chris, may I call you Chris? Why are we not still doing this? We have the technology.
We
they
are
are.
trying
They
to
call it
scroll.
something different. Yeah.
Oh, is it the Adventures League?
But it's not. Yeah, it is Adventures League, but it's
Okay.
not as. But it's still not as bureaucratic. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, political. Yeah.
So I am not trying to be that guy, I swear to God. Having had this conversation in person with Chris Perkins before,
You're being that. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
Name dropping.
We were having this discussion. I was like, dude, where's my fucking Greyhawk shit? And he was like, why do you love Greyhawk? Why are you like this? And I was like, come on, man. Because it's gritty, it's good. It makes magic magical. Like magic isn't everywhere, it's dying. So when a wizard walks up, people run because it's fucking weird. And he's like, all right, well, you'll probably be happy with the shit we're doing soon. And I was like, I love living Greyhawk. He was like, that was a nightmare for us to manage. He was like, I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, but we're not doing that again.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
that's understandable. No, like
Yeah.
that's as somebody who works in corporate, that honestly that does sound like a nightmare. And the only reason I would want to do it is because I wouldn't have to manage it.
Adventures League is technically living. It's just not living by region. Like it is.
Yeah.
It's like an overarching thing where like basically everything feeds into one path, one answer, but like it does change based off of the players.
So it's more like Living City then, which was Living City. Living City was before Living Greyhawk, and it was set in Faerun in the city of Ravensbluff. And it was all just everybody does things, and then they take account of what happened that year, and then they make changes. Like I was there for the death of Mistra.
Oh, man.
Wow.
But she's back now. She's fine.
Yeah, she's back. Yeah, she's fine.
Is she back? I thought she was replaced by
Mistra.
it's essentially the same god, just same but different.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Baron, what's your favorite? Now that we've
I will say, my favorite is Dragonlance. I've never made a secret of that. I've said it in multiple podcasts. Dragonlance is my favorite, and I found out because I like it because it's essentially a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, we did talk about this. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, in the last one, actually.
But I'll tell you why I didn't like Living Greyhawk. So I was there for the very first games of Living Greyhawk at Gen Con, right? And it's supposed to be leveled. So this game that you play is for level 1 characters. The next one will be for like level 2 characters. First game I play, I have this whole... we made extensive backgrounds for our characters and stuff. And I made an elven lycanthrope hunter. Like specifically there to hunt werewolves and such. But, level 1 characters, they don't give you silvered weapons. They don't give you, magic weapons starting out. So, you're not very effective. However, I'm level 1, so I shouldn't be fighting lycanthropes. First game, I have to fight a were-rat. There's a were-rat in the first module. In the first fucking module, there's a were-rat. Okay. Fast forward, same weekend, third game I ever played, werewolves. And I get turned into a werewolf. I lose my character.
You played yourself.
Yeah.
No, that sounds really on point. Like everything was like fucking 3 CRs higher than it needed to be. And that's why we always died. Because low level 3rd edition was rocket tag. It's like, well, we've all got rocket launchers and 3 HP. So let's see what happens.
Yep. It's funny too. I wish people could have seen our faces as we were doing this. Because Ryan is just sitting there with a non-surprised look on his face. He's like, yeah, that seems right.
Yeah.
I may have been at that table. I'm not sure.
So really, your whole taste hasn't changed for a long time, Baron.
No, not really.
Big, hunky, furry, like little...
Well, no. This guy ended up being big, hunky, furry.
Oh, okay.
He started out lithe and quick, and then he got bit by a werewolf. And again,
well,
D&D
I'm just
rules,
talking at the individuals that you chase.
True, yes.
Yeah.
And but in D&D rules, once you get turned into a werewolf, you're automatically evil.
Or at least back then.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely not true for 5th edition.
No.
Yeah. Third was a thing. Like
I loved 3rd. I loved it, but it definitely was a thing.
I also loved it, and I'm glad it's gone. Like
I couldn't say that a few years ago, or I couldn't say that a decade ago that I was glad it was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Now that 5th edition's out, I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah, yes, 100%. Like, I played a lot more 4th edition than I ever wanted to.
Yeah, here I am once again, the only guy in the room who actually liked 4th edition.
I like to shit on 4th edition because it's fun. It's like shitting on Nickelback,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, 4th edition is the Nickelback of gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
God, that's not a guild decree. I don't know what is. Baron, you gotta.
Yeah, all right. Guild decree, 4th edition D&D, Nickelback of tabletop role playing games.
Look at his spell bling.
Power set. Can't I just attack? No, you have to use a power. Oh.
You can do a basic melee attack.
I know, but why?
I will say the one thing I miss from 4th is the Warlord.
I love the Warlord. My first character was a Warlord.
Yeah, it was.
The only problem I think today with trying to emulate that Warlord, like they've talked about it several times since then. They were like, yeah, people really liked the Warlord, but the problem is, like, it was built around a system that was like a mini skirmish game.
Yeah.
And we've made D&D a role-playing game again, so you can't have that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I think it's fine, but yeah, I enjoyed the martial, non-magical cleric.
Yeah.
And I think they've made attempts since. I can't even. Do you guys know of anything that they've done, like in any setting or?
Being that I really like Warlord, I have done some research myself. There are some builds you can make. I mean, like, it's not a Warlord, but like if you build a fighter or a paladin or even sometimes a sorcerer a certain way, use things like the inspiring leader feat, things like that, you can build yourself to be a martial support character, and it is successful. I mean, like, it's not, you have to do it in more of a roundabout way than doing the warlord, and it's admittedly not as fun, but you can kind of do it.
Gotcha.
So, Rick, I don't think we've actually heard your favorite.
Not yet. So I started playing in 4th edition. My first real game of D&D I played was a campaign that Baron ran of 4th edition, and he hated it, so he dropped it. And then I was like, but I really want to play D&D. You got me hooked on this new thing, and like nobody around me wanted to play because everyone was like, I was like, I'll even run the game, and they were like, 4th edition, and I was like, yeah, and they were like, no. So I went to my FLGS, my friendly local game store, and I was like, hey, I really want to play D&D. And they were like, well, you're in luck because we're not playing it yet, but we've got all these materials if somebody wants to sign up for RPGA. So I was the RPGA dungeon master for like my area. So I got to game with lots of different people, lots of different play styles. And of course, that was a lot of Forgotten Realms at the time because RPGA was Forgotten Realms. And I got to tell everybody who came in, you know, hey, you're from Coromir, the land of the purple dragon. And they're like, what's that mean? And I'm like, sit down, you'll find out. So used a lot of the official character builder and like ran a lot of things through different realms and Forgotten Realms. So I'm super familiar with Forgotten Realms, so much that I've built my own version of it. Like my campaign setting for my home game is my version of Forgotten Realms, where I've made my own demigods and my own factions, and like it's a whole thing. But that being said, there was one module I got to run when I was RPGA because they gave me a couple like one-offs. Like they gave me like the Tomb of Horrors, and they were like, here, run this for first-time players. It's a Tomb of Horrors version for 4th edition. And I was like, okay. And like that's how I introduced my wife to D&D. It's a wonder she still likes it.
And you guys are still married. Wow.
Yeah. But one of the one-offs they gave me was a Dark Sun module.
Oh yeah, boy.
What?
And I have
Dark
to
Sun.
say,
There are only 2 editions that got official Dark Sun settings, 2nd and 4th.
4th edition got a Dark Sun?
Yep. You could only go up, what was it, level 10, level 15?
And let me tell you, Dark Sun as a miniatures game fucking rocks. Like, I loved running that Dark Sun module. I had a ton of fun with it. Like the fact that like the weapons break because they're made out of bone or wood, and like metal is rare, and then like you have to like manage your exhaustion because you're in the middle of the fucking desert. Like it's like hard mode, like for D&D, like, and it's like baked in. Like you don't have to like run a survival campaign. It is survival. And I gotta say, I'm just disappointed I've never gotten to play in it. Like I've run that one module a few times because I liked it so much, but I've never gotten to play in it. I really hope we get something like that for 5th edition.
I always really liked the idea of Dark Souls. I never got to play it either, but I've hyper focused and read up a whole bunch of stuff. And whenever I chose Out of the Abyss as a campaign setting, I was thinking like, oh, everybody says this is super survival-y. This will be exactly what I'm looking for. I'm here to tell you, don't ever do that to yourself or your players. That campaign setting is terrible.
Oh, another thing about the Dark Sun for 4th edition, they gave you a bunch of pre-made characters, right? They're like, in case your characters, you guys don't, I mean, like, we don't have a full Dark Sun book yet, so here's some pre-made characters so you can play actual Dark Sun characters. And one of the characters was a wizard. And in Dark Sun, it was like Greyhawken, where like magic was not common. Magic was like actually like kind of hunted and hated. So one of the hooks, one of the role-playing hooks for that Dark Sun module, which there wasn't a whole lot of role-play in 4th edition, so it really helped, was that the entire group was trying to hide and protect this wizard who like needed to get from point A to point B. So it was just a whole lot of fun.
So I love Dark Sun. And for any of the uninitiated that don't know, it's actually largely inspired by Dune.
Oh
And
yeah, I can definitely see that.
if you're doing anything psionics related in D&D, Dark Sun is heavy into psionics. In fact, all of the psionic playtest material for 5th edition references Dark Sun because Dune had all of the Mentat stuff, and that's where that came from. But 2nd edition, if you wanted to be a wizard and you wanted to cast a spell, you had to spend a number of HP equal to the spell's level every time you wanted to cast it, because it literally had to be pulled out of your own blood, because arcane magic doesn't exist. The weave, as it is known in Forgotten Realms, doesn't exist. Arcane magic, like, it has to be pulled out of life itself. And divine magic practically doesn't exist. So anything like supernatural was psionics, unless you were an asshole. It literally, like being a magical character in Dark Sun is evil, no matter which way you strike it. Like you cannot morally justify, in my opinion, being a magical character.
I think the way they did it in the 4th edition, I may have misspoke. I think it was a sorcerer, not a wizard, and he was like born that way with that magic. And that, like, you know, one of the other characters was like his sister, and like, you know, like he was like sentenced to death at like birth, and like his sister grabbed him up and like tried to run him out of the country, and like, you know, that was like the whole point of the campaign.
Oh yeah, like, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. This is not a criticism, but 4th edition, because of its far more empowering nature, actually like shaved off a lot of the harder edges of 2nd edition Dark Sun. Second edition Dark Sun like murdered your character creation level of hard.
Did 4th edition still have cannibal halflings?
It wasn't in that module, but I don't know. I never saw the actual campaign book, so
all of that like rated R horror movie, just brutal nonsense of 2nd edition Dark Sun was not present in 4th.
Oh, okay.
Nothing was.
Which I don't know why they were calling them cannibals. They didn't eat other halflings.
It's like, yeah, I guess they're not cannibals.
They did, however, still have
from Dark Sun.
Say what?
Didn't the Aarakocra come from?
There were Mantis people.
Well,
I don't know about
yeah, but like I think I don't know, like it might be like one of the
Dark
back
Sun's
recesses of my mind. Yeah,
there were the Mantis people, and they have the half dwarfs. The I think they're called moles or something like MUL. But like, yeah, they have a lot.
Look, I will say that I did not really enjoy Dark Sun, but I will give it all the kudos in the world for being so unlike your typical D&D setting.
Oh yeah,
and for really leaning into that feeling that set. It's like, I will give it that. They embraced it. That's why I don't like it, but I respect it.
Really, like they did something different that was still kind of like at the time, like Dune, like you said, Dune was very popular, and so they wanted to find something that was same but different. But they made a whole like setting out of it. It was good. From what I wish I could play in it. Maybe I'll run it. Who knows? But yeah, like it was a great setting.
There's a lot of talk that once like full on psionics comes out as a thing, it will be in the Dark Sun setting book.
I hope so.
I had a ton of fun with it, and the fact that I will label it as my favorite might be just that I had that one little module, and like didn't have enough of it to ruin it for myself. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it.
I imagine they'll have to do something like they did for 4th and limit the power level cap, because D&D as a system is inherently empowering, and Dark Sun is inherently not. I think it was wise of them with 4th, with as strong as your characters got so quickly, to be like, nope, you can't. That middle and high tier of play just doesn't exist in this game. Yeah. 2nd, they could get away with it because they were like, you're a level 20 fighter. What does that mean? That you can get hit twice before you die, and that was just 2nd edition D&D. So I think they'll have to do the same, but I look forward to it. And like, if you want to go in the like complete opposite direction, you know, hopefully they'll do that stuff too, because we haven't really gotten like the ultra high like mega fantasy settings from 2nd edition either.
Right.
Like Spelljammer.
I literally was just thinking the same thing. they've kind of touched on it a little bit. I've seen them talk about some things in like, you know, the unearthed arcana and stuff like that. But I'm also seeing a lot more buzz online, like with some of the streamers, not the streamers, the YouTubers that I watch, and they are starting to bring up Spelljammer more often.
Oh man, talk dirty to me about Spelljammer. Fucking so good. They mentioned
Spelljammer, the setting of all settings.
It is literally every setting. They mentioned it, I think, in the Ravenloft book, because they kind of had to. What with the realms of Ravenloft being these sort of transient dimensions, and they're like, yeah, they kind of just show up even if you're on a spaceship. Like the mists might take you, and yeah, I need that. Have you guys ever played in Spelljammer? Do you know what Baron and I are talking about over here?
No.
I've never. Oh, I mean, I know what it is. Like, I've definitely read up on it because I'm a giant fucking nerd. But like, I mean, here I am. But I've never actually played in a setting or ran a setting.
I kind of wish they would do more novels on it.
Sure.
Oh man, that would be great. D&D. They need more D&D novels. As of now,
D&D
they need more
in space.
And but I mean,
Cue the theremin.
Don't you want another Dritz novel?
Oh fuck me. I just ran out of the abyss. I don't need any more Underdark. Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, guys. It was great meeting you.
Yeah, it would. So, like, laser guns in D&D, like, it's been done. But when you're like, oh, this is a laser gun that shoots magic missiles, and like, oh, you want to go to Faerun? Well, hop in the spaceship. We'll go to that planet. Oh, you want to leave Faerun and go to, you know, the free city of Greyhawk? Hop in my spaceship. We'll fly to that planet.
What's your spaceship run on, wizard?
We just chuck them straight into the furnace.
Yeah, like. Yeah. Come here, Elminster. Fuck you. Arcane blast.
My friend ran a Ravenloft game before they did the Grand Ravenloft book for 5th, where the realm of Ravenloft we got transported to was this horrific post-apocalyptic version of the D&D cartoon show.
Oh no!
Where
I'm
like
gonna play that.
Oh, it was real good.
It was good. I listened to that.
Oh, thank you. Dungeon Master had like gone nuts. We were all level 14 characters, and I played a warlock from Spelljammer, and I was like, and he was a Celestial Pact warlock, and I was like, well, yeah, like I can go hang out with the stars. I just asked them for power, and they said yes.
As stars do.
Yeah, and he was like, he was an astronomer. He was like, no, that's just science. Like everything, like all of this magic is just science. And then he eventually got killed because it's Ravenloft, and that's what happens.
Yep.
But I think that's like they've kind of done that with some of the older stuff. Like some of the older adventures would actually have like crash spaceships. There was a lot of the weird Greyhawk stuff, like Beyond the Barrier Peaks, where your character's like going through a dungeon and it's a crash spaceship, and they're like fighting laser guns and fighting robots, and you don't know what the hell is going on. Or when you have to go get the Cudgel of St. Cuthbert and in one old 2nd edition module, and it's literally you just go to Earth and the dungeon is the London Museum. And the mace is in the middle of the museum, and so you have to fight all of the museum stuff as it comes alive and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like Faerun, like Toril, Spelljammer, like all of this is just different planes of existence from Earth. Like it's canon that was it Elminster that went and spoke with I can't remember his name now. He's an actual person, so I don't remember his name. But yeah, like it's like, you know, Elminster came and had a conversation. It was a whole article for Dragon Magazine. I don't remember his name.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because there are a number of canon D&D modules. Well, canon as much as anything is canon, but yeah, there are a number of D&D modules where your characters go to Earth in different time periods.
The last session of Acquisitions Incorporated that Chris Perkins ever ran, he had the members of Acquisitions Incorporated travel through the plains and landed in front of Wizards of the Coast in and actually like rode the elevator and talked to Chris Perkins. And
wow.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, that's
Man.
pretty meta.
Yeah, it was extremely
I love
meta.
it. Like that's some shit that I would love to. I would put that in my games just to kind of give that little bit of like, oh, this is great.
Well,
This is awesome.
Yeah.
That's like the exact opposite of the kind of games that I like to run. That's like
Mhm.
that's like your D&D characters going into the real world. My favorite kind of games, like to run and play and stuff, are
Mhm.
you're you in the real world and get transported to a D&D world.
I love that trope. That is one of my favorite tropes.
Yeah,
Oh, and it was Ed Greenwood that Elminster talked to. Ed Greenwood.
Oh man.
The podcast Dungeons and Daddies did that really well. Also, not a sex podcast, but they don't. We hear it Project Fat. We just embrace it.
That's fair. Yeah, my home group, we do it all the time. We actually call them piss games. So PYS, play yourself, piss game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping.
You're like, why? Well, our bottoms are wet the whole time. You figure it out.
I cast Golden Shower. I think we've kind of derailed a little bit.
And then Perseus was born. Are we talking about a different kind of golden shower?
Oh, are we not talking about? Oh,
Zeus?
sorry, guys. I think I'm in the wrong podcast.
Yeah, Dungeons and Daddies is just right down the hall there.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. All right, guys. It was great.
Speaking of being covered in piss, if you find yourself in such a manner, maybe you should check out our affiliate, geekyclean.com. At geekyclean.com/get discount/guild decree. You can find all kinds of different bath bombs filled with dice to wash that piss off yourself.
That happens more often than I'd like to admit. What kind of things does a Geeky Clean offer?
Look,
I'm glad you asked, because there is lots of dice inside bath bombs and dice inside soap you can get to wash that butt clean of yours. They actually, if you have enough dice, they have brand new bath powder that you can use with all the same scents of the dice inside bath bombs that you love. They're much cheaper and doesn't come with the extra dice. So go check them out.
I love cleaning the piss off of me as well as dice. So I super am excited for this new adventure.
So check out geekyclean.com/discount/guild decree, or just use guild decree at checkout and get a discount off your purchase.
I hate it here.
And we just lost that affiliate.
Yeah, that was, it was a nice little project for us, for sure.
We should probably hurry up and just order some stuff real quick before we lose them.
Yep, for sure. We're just like they hear us and you get an email and you just hear.
Never mind.
I can only play so much of it before it becomes an issue.
Right. Man.
So.
Oh, we're still going. Okay.
So,
oh, we're not canceled immediately? Oh, okay.
Damn it.
Listen, y'all never said the sponsorship required some fucking decorum, so
they didn't. They 100% didn't, I'll say. They were just like, here's a link. So I'll say, okay, when it comes to my knowledge of settings and realms, I play, like I said, I started the 4th edition and I was, poor as fuck. So I couldn't buy books. So, like, all of the stuff I had from D&D 4th edition was the stuff they gave me for free as an RPGA Dungeon Master. Like, all the campaigns, all the modules, everything. It was all stuff they gave me for free, which means I know Forgotten Realms and I know Dark Sun. And then for 5th edition, they haven't come out with too much. I've bought pretty much everything they have, but that means I know Forgotten Realms, Ravnica, Ravenloft, and I think
Eberron.
that's
They've done
it.
Eberron.
Yes, Eberron. And then they also hyper focused the Forgotten Realms and like, here's the Sword Coast.
Well, it's like not as a
Forgotten Realms
criticism
and the Remembered Realms.
Yeah, right. Not as a criticism, but like the Forgotten Realms is like perfectly aimed at like that teenage comic book level.
Yeah.
It is like there is a fucking beholder mobster that runs organized crime in Waterdeep because, you know, if you want to throw giant, ridiculous shit into your game, Forgotten Realms is there for you. And so it's a great default template as a setting. But look, they've been hinting. They've been dropping little seeds of other settings and stuff. And I've really liked how, with some of the adventures, they've been like, oh, hey, like in the Temple of Elemental Evil one, they were like, we realized that this adventure was originally Greyhawk. If there's any of you Greyhawk motherfuckers out there, here's how you can like be like, a Sararak is just back. I don't know. And stuff like that. And I've liked that. Like it's like one paragraph of like, hey, if you already know this, if you don't need us to print setting material, here you go. And like, you know, we were talking about Spelljammer. Technically, Spelljammer has gotten a name drop in official source material. There is a Spelljammer ship in the 19th level of the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. There is an actual Spelljammer ship in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage if you go through that adventure.
I started running Dungeon of the Mad Mage, but my party did not get that far. I think they were on like level 5 or something like that. So,
gotcha. But those are more like Easter eggs. But like, there was like, I think that the I don't know about y'all, but I think the 5th edition approach to quality over quantity has been really good for everything they've put out so far. Because like, we aren't getting settings like Ghost Walk from 3rd. If you remember that book.
No.
They released it. So Ghost Walk was like, I remember this book coming out and I was like, I love ghosts. I'm a huge nerd. And I was like, what is this about? And it was like, this is how you can turn your soul into a character after you die. Is it an actual setting? No. Is this being billed as a campaign setting book? Yes. And it literally, the whole thing was, you can make a will save when you die. You can either turn into a martial or a magical like ghost. And then it's really easy to get resurrected. And if you do, you convert all of your ghost levels into a real class. That's it. That was a whole like fucking 100-page book just for ghosts. And it was like, insert this into any other campaign. It's a campaign setting. You know? Yeah, and I'm like, I'm glad that we don't have that anymore. I mean, it holds a special place in my heart because it's so goofy and dumb, but it's not good.
I'm glad that 5th edition, as far as their campaign settings, have done well with not involving Drist as much as they have with their novelization. Like, and of course, I added him in Out of the Abyss because he's mentioned in Out of the Abyss, but and I've kind of my players were like, oh yeah, let's talk to this guy. He seems super edgelordy. I like him. And I was like, fuck, they're really attached to him. I might as well add him to the campaign. And now he's the parent of one of my characters. Him and Caddy Bree had a bastard child, and now it's one of my characters, one of my players.
That's.
And then I was like, I sat here and I'm like, I hate myself. I feel gross. This is what I've become as a dungeon master.
Now, if Dritz is involved, is every single one of your players' characters the good version of their evil race? So they like I'm not like everyone else, the character.
No, they are literally the opposite. They are the bad version of everything that they stand for. In fact, at least once per session, they look at each other and say, "We're the good guys, right?" Literally the last session, they started a riot in Waterdeep. And then 2 of the people who were not involved, the players were not involved, were like, oh, hell yeah, a riot. Let's go fucking punch some cops. That was like a good hour of it was just enticing a riot and then escalating a riot. We're the good guys.
That's a lot.
It was a lot of fun.
So I bring up the fact that I don't know a whole lot of the campaign settings because I have pulled up a list here of campaign settings that are official campaign settings. I'd like to go down that list while I have people who've been playing D&D for a very long time and might have an idea of what some of these are.
I guarantee you half of them I don't know. I've never heard of.
I mean, that's fair.
I'm just saying, just telling you right now, I guarantee
What I'm going to do if you guys don't know what it is, I'm just going to read a little synopsis and then we can say what we think about that.
Fucking try me. I'm ready. I'm here. I was born for this.
All right. So at the top of the list, we've got Dark Sun.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Completely unfamiliar.
Like I said before, I love Dark Sun. And I love Dark Sun so much that when I started playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and my first weapon broke, I'm like, it's Zelda Dark Sun. And I enjoyed it all the more for that.
Yeah, I will say I don't like the hopelessness of the setting.
That's fair.
That's where you and I differ. Like, I love the hopelessness of the setting.
Oh yeah, no, like
I
I'm
want
the guy
my
that,
players to cry. Is essentially
I'm the guy that
at.
watched half of the road and then quit because I couldn't handle it anymore.
You are the soft dom. We've already established this in the first. It was the first episode that I was in.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
Next on the list, we have Dragonlance.
What the fuck is a Kinder?
And who the fuck would let someone play a Kinder in their game?
Why are there Kinders and how are they not extinct yet?
Because, you know what? I only have one thing to say about that. The only reason why they're not extinct is because they like to fuck.
That is fair.
They're also not afraid of a challenge because half Kinders exist.
Oh yeah, that's you have like every now and then you have like a green Kinder running around and you're like, ooh, I really hope that was your dad.
I'm telling you, that's the only way that race is still alive is they have to fuck like rabbits.
Yeah. Yep. Bugs Kinder.
So that's what we have to say about Dragonlance is Kinders fuck like rabbits. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, I mean that is
Guilty Creek. Kinders like to fuck. Wait, I already used mine.
Yeah, you already used yours. Sorry.
It was a good one though. You didn't waste it.
It was good. I've already forgotten what it was, but it was good.
The 4th edition is the Nickelback of
Oh, you're right.
right.
That's right. I honestly forgot too. Nickelback is forgettable. 4th edition is traumatic. So
wait, why don't we turn it around? Nickelback is the 4th edition of the music industry.
Oh,
I like that better.
That's way better.
Yeah.
Every time you guys rag on 4th edition, I die a little inside.
Look, Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition made one of the best role-playing games ever made, and that was Gamma World. That 4th edition Gamma World, infinitely better than anything Dungeons and Dragons related. But if you've never played Gamma World, oh god, so good. But anyway.
Okay. Next on the list, we've got Ravenloft.
I am super upset that they have not come up with and there's a pause after come. Dimitrescu version of Strahd.
I mean, I guarantee you go to Drive-Thru RPG or what is it, Dungeon Masters Guild. I guarantee you that exists.
You know, if you
guarantee you.
If you go on Amazon and you just search for Resident Evil Village, you will find so much smut art for sale of Lady Dimitrescu that it will actually drown out the video game itself. You have to go several pages past all of the fan art to get to the game.
I will say that game is actually probably a very, very good representation of what Ravenloft is, kind of.
Never played it. Only have seen the totally PG fan art.
Yeah, I'm with you, Baron. I beat RE8 probably 3 times already, and like the way in which you bounce between the hellscapes is absolutely like stepping into a different version of Ravenloft. They're just all neighbors, and it sucks for you.
Right.
My campaign I'm running right now. We ran the first session last night. Actually, one of my players based their character off of Heisenberg.
Oh
like
man,
Breaking Bad Heisenberg?
No, like Resident
RE8.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Fucking Dickel after first
he's
one.
a lesser known character from that game that people are just as thirsty for.
Oh, okay.
He's angsty Magneto.
Jesus Christ. I mean, like both editions of Magneto, I would absolutely.
Where's this going?
So what's the next one?
All right, so we got Ravenloft is Resident Evil 8. All right, cool. Eberron. Yeah, Eberron's the next one on the list.
Eberron was I really thought was a great idea. It was fresh for me, and like some of the lore that went into it. Warforged came from there, did they not?
Yep, Warforged and the Artificer class.
So
I mean, Artificer.
Both of those things, Warforged and Artificer, they were great ideas for this. I love the lore with the dwarves, which is great. They were just giants that pissed off the gods, and they're like, well, guess what? You're not giants anymore.
Played one of my favorite characters ever in Eberron, and it was the only game I've ever played of Eberron, and that was dude. And the only reason why is because somebody said like you should just name him like I was like, what should I name this dude? Well, I'm a dude. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's do that. And he was an orc barbarian because that's just kind of my de facto. But yeah, he was a horny fucking orc, and I think he had just like the best storyline I've ever had, and I'm super upset that I was never able to like kind of. I mean, I was able to actually I did finish it. The last game we played, he died in a blaze of glory. Literally, it was probably one of the best small campaigns that I've ever played in. But I haven't really played a lot of campaigns as a player.
I like that. One of the things I really liked about Eberron is they took all of the races that in any other setting are monstrous, air quotes, and they were like, they're taxpayers now.
Yep.
Like that Knoll runs a bakery down the street because why would we, like just because of what kind of creature they are, if they're sapient, just saying that they're evil is kind of not great. But the halflings were dinosaur riding barbarians. Like, I love it.
Yep.
I'd like to think that Matt Mercer got a lot of inspiration for his world from Eberron.
That would make a lot of sense, I think.
I would think so. I also would think that like from what I'm hearing about, because I didn't know about the arcane users and Dark Sun being like pulling from themselves, would get like a lot of from the inspiration for the Blood Hunter class that he did.
Yeah.
Which,
that's a whole world that we haven't even mentioned yet. Is Matt Mercer?
Oh yeah.
Which is an official set in D&D now.
Yep.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
All right. Next on the list, we've got Planescape.
Yeah, buddy.
Is that Planescape? I feel I was a lot in connection with Spelljammer. Am I wrong?
It is its own setting.
Okay.
It came out in the height of second edition. And it was actually made by Jeff Grubb, the same guy that did Spelljammer. So it was basically the standard fantasy version, I guess. There were some themes that crossed over, but the big thing that came out of Planescape that sort of maintained throughout all of D&D canon would be like Sigil and the Spire and stuff like that. Like Planescape was the dimension that was the game setting that flattened the power scale. Like if you wanted to punch a god, you did it in Planescape because you were like, oh, divine power is just another form of magic. Why don't you go meet me in the interdimensional New York where I can punch you and you can't do anything about it? Or
like
it was
kind of place.
It was Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, but D&D.
Yeah.
Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this. What's the next one?
God punching character. Next on the list after Planescape is Greyhawk. So of course we've already said quite a bit about Greyhawk.
Man, I've never heard of this one.
And I can't even really say I hate it, but it is definitely to me it will always be vanilla D&D.
Yeah. And that's absolutely fair. Like the
missionary sex D&D.
Missionary sex, which I will say there is nothing wrong with vanilla ice cream, and there is nothing wrong with chest to chest intercourse. Okay,
I thought you were saying Greyhawk, but then you're just leaving it at that.
I meant there's nothing wrong with Greyhawk, is what I meant to say. That post.
Yeah, well, we can edit that post for sure. It's okay.
Oh,
I won't give up your secrets.
One final thing I will say about Greyhawk is that tonally, if you wanted to do Game of Thrones in any setting in D&D, you would need Greyhawk because it's entirely about the political intrigue between countries and stuff like that. Like that is what it is about.
That was the whole point of breaking up everything into regions, because I think that they were.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Eventually, they were expecting more interplay between the regions, but it never went that far. So,
I've been trying to get more into political intrigue in my games, and I think I've been doing okay adjacent, but maybe I'll have to get more into Greyhawk just to kind of give that little bit of like spark.
Yeah.
Next on the list, we've got Spelljammer.
Okay. Yep. Now we're back to that.
NASA. What does D&D NASA stand for? Definitely not National Association of whatever. What is the?
Like if we were to break up NASA into a D&D relevant anagram.
Yeah. Necrotic.
Oh, I already don't like where this is going.
Oh, I love it. Or hold on.
Aeronautical.
No. Hold on. A Monster Manual N.
Aarakocra? What? Oh. Necrotic Aarakocra. Ew! Just breaking off feathers everywhere it goes. That's not cool.
Better yet, we'll start it with Nothic or Naga.
I will say that Spelljammer.
I love the Nothic.
Spelljammer has like the interesting. It really introduced me to the concept of dead gods and like what happens to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so weird.
There's a great map. There's a great map from this. I'm a patron too on Patreon of a dead god map in the astral plane.
Yeah,
and you had to fight on this. I was like, oh, this is great. I wish I had the creativity to put this in my game somehow.
Well, Spelljammer did something that I really, really liked as far as the like alignment discussion around the table, and basically said that alignment is codified by the gods. So if you don't want your character to have an inherent alignment in a way that you don't want to deal with, you have to kill the gods. And it sort of made this big meta plot reason as to why alignment in D&D exists. And it's basically the fabric of reality.
I wake up every day wanting to fight God, so I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Next on the list, we have Mystara.
Hold on. Before we go there, I want to comment on what you just said. One thing I miss about D&D is the ability to become a god.
My characters just got to level 20 on Saturday.
They had a whole like source book and adventure path of what you needed to do to become a god.
It changed.
What is this on?
Yeah, it does change in every edition. Mine was the one I'm thinking of is AD&D.
Oh, okay. Become a god.
In third, it was just like hit level 50. But fifth caps you at 20, and they're like, no, you can't keep gaining levels.
Well, that and they're saying that you actually have to kill a god to take its place, and they made it way more messy. Is it Mr. Rex? MRX? RHEXX. He has a whole thing on his YouTube. I'll just give a shout out to him because I really like his stuff. He has a whole thing on his YouTube about what it would take to become a god. And boy, he really digs deep into this.
Oh yeah, they talk like it actually. That concept came up and they don't even reference it. They don't explain it to the DM in the Descent into Avernus game for fifth. You eventually there's one point where you, at the very beginning, when you first get into Avernus and you go down to this crypt, and you find this like perfectly preserved woman with a sword. And like the backstory is like she just walked up one day, decided I hate that dragon specifically, fuck that dragon, and killed it, and now she's just immortal. And so like I knew what it was because I'd played a fuckload of Spelljammer, and I was like I had to like break it down for my players because they wouldn't leave it alone. They were like, oh, she'll solve all of our problems, she's this great hero. And I was like, no, you don't understand what the concept of a hero is. She rose above like her embodiment as an individual and became the bane of that dragon. She's not going to save you from the demons unless that dragon shows up, and then she'll kill it and go right back to sleep. And like they were like, well, that fucking sucks. I was like, well, and then like I got to go into this whole thing about the Lady of Pain from Sigil and how like she embodies the like, you know what, maybe fuck gods, they're horrible, heroic mindset, and why she as a mortal is more powerful than them because she just decided like I don't give a shit about you. I'm going to make everything that I represent being hating you specifically. And yeah, so Spelljammer really got into that about how you could become a concept, and I loved that.
You know who'd really know how to become a god? Baron, you're gonna have to remind me because I can't remember his name. It's something McGee.
Oh shit.
Buffugger McGee.
Buffugger McGee. We even changed his name again, but we just can't remember what we changed
lost
it
the
to.
time. It's lost the time. You know what? His god, Lexandros, would probably know.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. What's the next one?
Yep. See, this is actually why I like my version of Forgotten Realms in 5th edition better than the normal version of Forgotten Realms, because I had a character who got thrown back and forth through time so much. Eventually, he just became the demigod, and then eventually the god of time, because there isn't one in Forgotten Realms that I know of. So so he just got thrown back and forth so many times that in my setting he is now the demigod and eventually the god of time. So
that's something that they don't really talk about too much, is demigods.
Kronos is the god of time in 5e, I think. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's your game, and you've established the pantheon. Yeah. But I think Kronos is the god of time in 5e, but that might have been, in Forgotten Realms, but that might have been again lost to time.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mystara.
Yeah, Mystara is the next one on the list. Yes.
Mystara wasn't an established campaign setting. It was a interconnected group of first edition modules. And if you download the Capcom hack and slash beat 'em up games, the 2 Dungeons and Dragons games, those are both set in Mystara.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard of this, and I don't know why.
They were arcade games that got Dreamcast ports, and the modern PS4, Xbox, PC ports are just those Dreamcast games brought forward.
So that's funny. The world is unfamiliar to me, though I've played in it.
There isn't a whole lot that you need to know. That's the only way in which you'd be familiar with the setting is if you played the specific modules that call it out. It's actually the first D&D setting. It's the first published thing that has anything of an interconnected world for D&D.
All right.
Next on the list would be Birthright.
Oh, I wanted to play that, but I've never gotten to. That's that one that would be good for Game of Thrones, because again, that is all about the political.
Sounds like it, yeah.
If I'm thinking of the right one, that is all about the political intrigue.
Yeah, I've never even heard of Birthright.
That's the one where you all play a different, you're all Arthur of some different fucking kingdom, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Each character is their own member of Arthurian legend. Yeah, I remember that because it's your excuse for starting at level 15.
Yes.
I just looked it up. That campaign setting came out a few years after I was born, so that does track that I've never heard of it. Sorry, Aaron. Anyways,
years?
A few years, yeah.
I'm out.
I mean, that said, I think Greyhawk is older, isn't it? Yeah. Greyhawk came out in the 80s. It came out in 1980, so I don't know. I really don't have an excuse at this point.
No, well, Birthright didn't get published past 2nd edition. It was exclusively a 2nd edition thing.
Yeah.
So, role playing game was so weird in the 90s. Oh man.
We had Werewolf the Apocalypse.
We had Werewolf. We had Rifts.
Oh God, Rifts.
Aaron, just because you will find any excuse to bring up werewolves, won't you?
Yes.
Okay.
So next on the list, I only read one sentence, and I'm already 100% in. Council of Worms.
Oh, that's a campaign set. That they're considering that its own realm.
According to this, it is maybe not a realm, but it says campaign setting. The only thing I've read is an AD&D setting where the player characters can play as dragons.
Yes.
I
thought that took place on an established world, and I thought it was just an adventure.
Yeah, it's just an adventure book. It's not like what you would consider a full-on campaign setting. I
think it's like Dragon. I think it's like Dragon Mountain, where it can take place on anywhere you want it to be.
Sure.
And again, you'll find any reason why to bring up Dragon Mountain, right? So is this just like a whole bunch of like a whole campaign setting of?
There are werewolves in Dragon Mountain.
Is there?
There are.
What are they called? The dark spawn, the star spawn. It's a fucking monster in D&D where it's made of worms.
The star spawn.
Is it Starspawn? Yeah. Is that just like? Are they? Is that where those folk are from?
Starspawn are from Lovecraft.
Oh, really? Like, are they called Starspawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly positive that they are.
Fun fact, unrelated, kind of related. My son, when he was little, I used to read him like literally anything just to get him to sit still. His jam, I would read him our complete collection of Lovecraft.
Nice.
Wow.
Super weird. Probably tracks with his parents, but probably should reintroduce that again because I haven't done that in a while.
Hey, just let them know that Lovecraft was a piece of shit, but his work.
Oh yeah, cool. Lovecraft was a terrible person. Most great authors. I mean, look at what's her name from Harry Potter.
Yeah, and like full disclosure, even though I love Greyhawk, it was Gary Gygax's setting, and I don't know if y'all are aware, but like in his later years in the early 2000s. He was regularly like posting on forums that like women aren't equal and maybe white people are just inherently better than other races and stuff like that. Like openly.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
At least he was. Where one of his sons got it then, not Luke.
Yeah.
Luke seems to be good. But
I will say that in his defense, in later years, there's a lot of cognitive disabilities that do kind of become, it does not justify, but it does kind of explain the behavior. I work in accessibility, so like we deal with a lot of cognitive disabilities and whatnot. Again, regardless, super terrible things.
Yeah, no, it came out that he was always like that.
Oh well.
No, he's just Gary Gygax was a shitty bigot who hated role playing, by the way.
I mean, like if you just look at some of the early writings, I mean, like a lot of D&D, especially early D&D, if you look at the writings, I mean, a lot of it's problematic. And I mean, like you got to look at the creators and like see, okay, well, this is probably why it's problematic,
Yeah, it literally the reason why races in D&D are A, called races, and B, have different inherent statistics are because he believed in racial superiority. Yep.
Gross.
Yep, that's literally represented in the math of D&D. You can't escape it. But anyway,
what's that fucking band name? Shit, I have whatever. The time is gone. I had a joke, but I was like, all right, whatever.
The next started as its own campaign setting, and then was later rolled into Forgotten Realms. Al-Qadim.
Oh yeah.
Never even heard of that. Nope.
Yep, it's the Arabian Nights.
Yeah, that's the like if you sail west from the Sword Coast, that's the other half of Toril. Is where all of the other non-European focused settings are.
Is that the Mohorandi?
That sounds right.
But yeah, I actually remember playing Living City and going there, and there was a chance that was the fun thing about Living City, because if you go so far away and you fuck up and your character is there for months, guess what? Your character is there for months, and you can't play that character until it comes back in real time. That's why you had backup characters. I was stuck in Ravenloft for a year.
All right, now we have Blackmoor.
Oh man,
I know that one. What is that from? I do recognize that name.
Blackmoor was the official setting created by Dave Arneson, in my opinion, the true father of D&D, and it is a science fantasy setting. I have the Blackmoor book, the 3rd edition one, and it had like robots and magic and stuff. But that was the Dave Arneson setting. And if you don't know anything about him, he was the one that made role playing games. He was the guy that was like, you know what, we should have like structured interactive play at the table. He's the guy that the whole reason this hobby exists is because of him, and that's his setting.
Never mind. I don't know Blackmoor. I only know Elder Scrolls Blackwood, and I had to look it up.
Yeah, no, Blackmoor is cool. I could go get my Blackmoor book, and I'll rant about it all day long. It's wonderful.
This is so weird because like usually I am the elder nerd of my, well, unless Baron's a part of the conversation. But like a lot of the folks, like they know Eberron, they know Forgotten Realms, and that is about it. And I'm like sitting here like, oh, look at all this crazy shit that I got. This is an interesting experience for me.
There's a lot of cool stuff.
I have to say, based off the way you described it, and like the first sentence I have on this Google page, where it describes it as a generic medieval campaign, but with Renaissance level of technology. Like when you say robots, that immediately makes me think like Da Vinci design robots.
I love it.
Yes. It was very Jules Verne. It was like the metal men from Mars, but they're made out of like, but like that's why golems in D&D are immune to magic, because they're not like, they're kind of that's from, it's like a Blackmore thing. It's like a thing he introduced.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Da Vinci style robots in D&D.
That it's
Blackmore.
That actually is probably going to help, because I've been wanting to find a way to introduce Warforged, but I just don't care to do the Eberron style Warforged. Da Vinci, though, I'm here for it. That is going to be how I do it.
Yeah, it's
if
cool.
you're one of my players, just forget that you heard that.
What are we doing?
Nothing.
Yep. There's nothing to forget.
Oh, okay.
Next up, we've got Kingdoms of Calamar.
Oh, that sounds
I used to
fishy.
love seafood. Thank you. I'm glad that we made the same joke, but different.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. I think I may have played in that once.
I used to have the 3rd edition book for that.
Oh, that's where I've heard of it. That was the 3rd edition. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was, from what I remember, it was like just a continent that you could throw into any game. It wasn't like, I don't remember it being like its own full-on setting, but I don't.
Did White Wolf do that?
I'm trying to find a good little description here, because the link I had from my list wasn't great. Okay.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Kingdoms of Calamar.
I remember, like, I'm not looking it up. From my hazy memory, it was the game where if you were like, we want to play knights on horseback, and we want this to be extremely realistic to medieval Europe, like that was Kingdoms of Calamar.
The
also
master was like, get the fuck off my table.
It's the official setting of the second version of Hackmaster.
Wow.
For the listeners at home, I'm giving Baron a very
Hackmaster. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Oh, many.
I am Sir Hackmaster of Arthurian legends.
Next, we're going to talk to me about Castles and Crusades or Palladium Fantasy.
Oh, Palladium!
We have to call
off the books of this one.
Let me dim out my percentile dice and get ready to call my hits.
I shall brush off the old tomes.
God, Hackmaster.
Don't quote the old magics to me, which I was there when it was written.
What, like
Anthony wasn't.
That's true.
Well,
Oh no.
Hackmaster was that weird fucking system, man, that had so much cross. Yeah, it was look, we're D&D, but not the same rules.
Yeah, Hackmaster, we encourage you to attack your party members.
Mm-hmm. Also, you have to get really, really specific about how you're murdering someone, or else you don't get to roll.
I've been in those games before.
Then, of course, we've got Forgotten Realms.
I never heard of it.
No, I'm familiar.
Which
I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot.
Which realm is this? I forgot. Yeah, that's.
I don't remember those realms. Have you heard of Hackmaster? Because fuck you.
Yeah, I heard that there's they got a place, they got a library. It's really stingy. You got to bring like a book to get in, which is a really weird. I don't know. It's probably cold up north and
Probably warm down south.
Yep.
People are really, really powerful in this region of the world.
yeah,
Don't go here, no matter what you are.
What's going over in the west and east? Don't worry about it. Shut the fuck up. Just roll your dice.
Are you telling me that 2 characters can essentially solo a white dragon? All right.
Yeah.
Forgotten Realms asks the bold question: what if
100%.
California really was the center of the world?
Oh, I never looked at it that way, but damn.
The Sword Coast is literally the Western United States. It's not even like a joke.
Baron,
Right.
we're all aware that you want to solo a white dragon.
I do.
Yeah.
Wink.
You can do that in the Forgotten Realms, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what? Okay, when you say solo, what do you mean?
Take it
I
on by
don't
yourself.
like
Whatever you want.
it. Then yes. You can leave the polymorph on the shelf.
Yeah. Just left the money on the nightstand. Just make it.
All right. I'm gonna pronounce this next one wrong.
Yeah, probably.
Character.
It is. Oh,
Jesus Christ, Rick. I don't even know what you're talking about, so I can't really correct you.
I honestly didn't hear you because I was making a joke.
Kuratur is Forgotten Realms.
Kuratur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is one of those. Kuratur is one of those settings that was just a generic.
Absorb.
Yeah, it was absorbed. They did that a lot.
I will say that there are plenty of like campaign settings that were essentially one-shot adventures or some such that eventually just got folded into something else.
I mean, it makes sense why it was called Forgotten Realms if they're just absorbing all these other ones and just be like, this is.
We forgot the planet was this big.
Right. I actually think the Dragonlance campaign setting has just gotten folded over into Faerun, so I think we're good.
Yeah.
Most of my one-shots that I run end up being canon in my games. In fact, the game that I'm going to end up running for y'all is, well, for Baron and the rest of the Fett crew, the Goblin Brigade, is going to have a lot of canon of Forgotten Realms and Exandria and my homebrew, as well as whatever the fuck my one-shots have kind of developed. Because like one-shots make the best lore.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think a lot of people, when they run D&D, they forget that you can do what the fuck you want.
Whatever you want. And one-shots are a great place for
do
that.
it.
Yeah, my as a joke, one of my players made an orgy cult, and now that is a part of the lore and canon in my game. And it's if they ever go and do it, they're like, maybe you'll get there on the festivities of this holiday, which is literally a giant orgy. Because why not?
You want to join this cult? Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. Yeah.
So the next one apparently is a subsetting for Mystara called Hollow World.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, how am I more familiar with Holler World than I am the Mystara?
Because Hollow Earth shit. It's like it was the Underdark before the Underdark was a thing.
Oh, okay.
It was.
Yeah.
It was where the concept for the Underdark came from. Because there were
my hillbilly was coming out because I just called it Holler World.
Holler World.
Holler World.
Wait, are you telling me that you don't believe in the Hollow Earth theory? Not flat Earth theory, because that's ridiculous. But Hollow Earth theory. Like, you would be ridiculous not to believe in Hollow Earth theory.
Look, there are obviously.
Why is this a fantasy campaign setting? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, Hollow Earth is a role-playing game if you've never played it, but like, fucking, obviously there are Nazis in the center of the planet making dinosaurs.
Well, they used to be.
Obviously.
They have a moon base now.
Right. You have a good point.
Yep.
I've seen that movie.
You believe in the moon?
You believe in the moon?
I think the moon's haunted.
Moon's haunted. What do you mean? Moon's haunted.
Moon doesn't exist. God.
It is. You know what the moon is, though, right? It's covered in werewolves.
And white dragons that you can absolutely solo.
Absolutely solo.
Well, I mean, if you put a werewolf on the moon,
I'm good. I'm good for 14. I'm pretty sure I can take 14 werewolves.
Well, we've all seen the meme of the couch, and there's the 14 werewolves behind the couch, right?
Yeah. And there's
I would
Baron
love
sitting
to
on
do
the
a
couch.
one shot, even just a campaign of let's just throw as many conspiracy theories as we can at this fucking campaign.
There's your next Photoshop project, Anthony. Me sitting on the couch with 14 werewolves sitting
I'm
behind.
already working on it.
He's already pulling up werewolf references.
Yeah, like literally Googling a porn meme
Somehow he's already got me sitting cross-legged on a couch on there.
Yeah, cross-legged but face down.
Right, obviously.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Jacondor?
Who?
What?
Jacondor?
We're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to censor that.
This might be the first one I've stumped you. Okay, Jacondor, or I might be pronouncing it wrong.
Rick, this is a family podcast.
It is not.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. See you later. Also, fun fact: don't ever Google porn meme.
Yeah, probably a bad idea.
Jacondor?
Jacondor, released in 1998, is a self-contained quote-unquote campaign area conceived by Jeff Grubb. Jacondor is an island divided between the native Chiranti, a civilization that makes heavy use of magic, especially necromancy, and the Nor, barbarians who despise the vile practice of magic and have been driven from a faraway homeland to Jacondor.
Okay, I know who Jeff Grubb is. Like,
there's a book series.
I don't even know who
Oh no,
Jeff Grubb
you
is.
mentioned someone. Okay, good.
The setting was released in the form of 3 books as a part of the AD&D Odyssey line.
Steel and Bone campaign setting. I've heard of that. I've heard of it as Steel and Bone. I don't remember the name Jacondor. Anyways,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Jeff Grubb's made a lot of stuff. Contributed to a little campaign setting called Dragonlance. No, he's done a lot of different.
I hear Kinder once stole the last reference of that campaign setting.
And my underwear.
If only if you ask nicely.
Stolen or freely given? I mean,
their hands are so tiny.
All right. Next one is Rokugan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
not
fun.
a D&D setting. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
definitely.
Did do
I used to have Roku. I just used Google TV now.
Well, apparently the setting was used by Wizards of the Coast as the basis for their updated Oriental Adventures Dungeons and Dragons supplement.
All right.
That's
Yes,
More
I
like a
remember
crossover.
those years.
1997, apparently. So.
Oh, I remember. So,
Anthony, what do you think? I'm kidding.
Rokugan has changed hands a number of times. It was originally the Legend of the Five Rings card game.
Yep.
And AEG for a long time owned it. And then they made their role-playing game, and that was all well and good. And then for a brief period, Wizards of the Coast owned the license to L5R. And while they owned the license to L5R, they put out the cards, they put out some novels, they put out the, oh God, I wish it wasn't called that, Oriental Adventures campaign setting book, and they used Rokugan as their default setting because they owned the rights to it.
Fair.
They no longer, after that, the rights went back to AEG, and now the rights for Rokugan are owned by Fantasy Flight. So they're currently doing the role-playing game and the living card game.
Which, by the way, if you guys out there haven't played Legend of the Five Rings, please do. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about Greyhawk earlier and how Living Greyhawk was affected by the players. Up until the universe reboot by Fantasy Flight, the nature of the meta plot of Rokugan was altered by the people that played the game. Like, as people won different stuff at tournaments, that's how the meta plot narrative of the world was shaped. But Fantasy Flight got their mitts on it after AEG basically folded and sold off their IPs and said, hey, just don't sell it to Wizards again. And Fantasy Flight went, cool, well, we don't want to have to deal with any of the baggage that, having flip-flop from AEG to Wizards back to AEG, so we're just going to reset the entire narrative to before your first set. And it's fun. I'm actually in a regular L5R game on Thursday nights.
That's fun. That and the pirate game. What was it called?
7th Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could tell you a fair bit about 7th Sea as well, but this is a D&D focused podcast.
All right, this one is another one you might say isn't a campaign setting, but next on the list is Dragon Fist.
What?
I've seen that movie.
That's the name of Baron's sex tape.
it is.
So since you guys all seem to be a little lost on that one, Dragon Fist released on the Wizards of the Coast website and was promoted as a new role-playing game, describing itself as in its introduction as an AD&D variant. With its debut near the end of the lifespan of second edition, the variant rules blended rules found in different editions. For example, the game used the monster template of second edition, but the armor class rules of third edition. The campaign setting created by Chris Pramis is an oriental realm known as Tianguo, a fictional land based on Korea films and on Chinese folklore and legend.
Oh, that's why.
Beyond its initial release, the project was not supported.
That is the one that Wizards go. I know this one now that you mentioned Changwo, because that one was the one that they sold to Green Ronin. Because they were like, you motherfuckers will print anything. Here, have something we don't want anymore. And they sold
will too. Green Ronin will, yeah.
Yep. That is yep.
They printed Life Cereal.
I'm not gonna Google that. I believe that wholeheartedly.
No fact checking on Caster's Guild, let me tell you.
Yeah. No, as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, I know what Dragon Fist is, and I'm sad.
All right. I know I'm going to mispronounce this one. Mahasarpa.
Oh, yeah, the Middle Eastern one. That was
and making shit up.
I think that got folded into Forgotten Realms as well. That's like the South Asian. That's like Middle East and India in one setting.
Apparently, it features 7 kingdoms that are surviving remnants of a great kingdom brought down by its own arrogance. So that sounds right.
Typical.
Yep.
Let's see. Then Ghostwalk.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh boy. Yeah.
It's not good.
We talked a little bit about that one.
You're like, yeah, buddy. It's not good.
I own the book for it, and I tried to run like 10 adventures with Ghostwalk in mind, and people were like, when does this come into effect? And I was like, when you die. And they're like, so are you going to try and kill us on purpose? And I was like, no. That's the end. Oh, and Ghostwalk has a fuck ton of ghost touch stuff. So if you want to give like ghost touch oils and weapons and stuff to your players really early on and just have them fight ghosts constantly, Ghostwalk has the rules for you.
Okay.
Oh man, I feel bad for not knowing this one. Nentir Vale.
That
never heard of it.
Is part of something
actually
else
never
too,
heard of
isn't
it. Not
that got folded into the realms, I think.
Yeah, Forgotten Realms.
Check this out. Nentir Vale is the sample community provided as a default setting for the 4th edition Dungeon Master's Guide.
Okay.
Apparently, the deities presented in it are a combination of Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, and newly created gods.
Yeah, I almost feel like I was playing the Neverwinter Nights, and I believe that it was in Neverwinter Nights, actually.
I feel like my version of Forgotten Realms is probably closer than Nentir Vale, since I started it in 4th edition. And like I've always been like, oh yeah, this god, and then like other people from Forgotten Realms are like, no, that's not the god in Forgotten Realms. And then like somebody else goes, oh, yeah, that's a Greyhawk god. And I'm like, okay, where did I get that? And I guess I got it from Nentir Vale.
Yep, probably.
Well, I don't know if it's going to come up, but the oh god, I literally just had it in my head. What is the 4th edition planet called? Or it's called the World, but the campaign setting, Points of Light. Yes, the 4th edition world as a whole is called the Points of Light.
Well, they refer to the world as the world, and towns and other civilization centers are described as Points of Light.
Right, because they were like, the world has a nondescript size. There's nothing in between except what you draw on a map. Because if a random encounter doesn't spawn there, does it exist? 4th edition.
Was that really just the people that were making that game that were like, okay, we need to come up with a map for the world, but I don't wanna.
It literally doesn't have an overworld. But I mean, come on, like fucking Forgotten Realms like asks you the bold question: what does a planet look like where people can teleport? And the answer is go fuck yourself. It's as big as we need it to be. Like,
the answer is go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
which is now forever my answer for anything.
I think that's actually written in the book too.
Yeah, Toral.
Yeah, it's one of those like front page kind of disclaimers. Just it's disclaimer. The answer is go fuck yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
How big is Toral? Motherfucker, please.
Motherfucker, please.
Are you going to measure it? Because I'm not.
In cubic centimeters. Motherfucker, please.
All right. For all you Critical Role heads, next up is Exandria.
I like it.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, it's your typical D&D world. I mean, nothing.
Is it typical?
Yeah, sure. And he's
what is a typical D&D world if it's not what? Okay, actually, no. Let's just leave it at that. What is a typical D&D world?
Typical D&D world or fantasy races, magic, kingdoms.
It's a world with points of light, clearly.
Hey, Anthony, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Fair. What is it? Go fuck yourself.
The answer is
go fuck yourself.
But the funny thing is, he's like still constantly just adding on to it. Spoiler: he just added Warforged.
Yeah. I just got up to that point.
And satyrs as playable characters.
Yep.
Neat.
So we'll finish this out with 3 and 1 because it's the Magic the Gathering planes. So we've got Ravnica, Theros, and Strixhaven.
Oh, Theros. I love it so much.
Of course you do.
I do. I love it.
I was really surprised that they started to do the Magic the Gathering settings.
I was as well.
Because that was another time where the official answer that I got from Wizards was go fuck yourself when asking about why don't you own both of these properties. They're both thematically similar. Why in the world haven't you made them cross over? And the official answer up until 5th edition was Hasbro told them, go fuck yourself. You're not allowed. You have to keep these two things distinctly separate. They were not allowed to make.
Hasbro was so good for the hobby. So good.
Well, you know that
go fuck yourself.
Wizards of the Coast was the only division of Hasbro that made money during 2020.
That makes sense.
I believe that.
And and so when they started doing that stuff, they started making the crossover. I want to say in like 2 weeks, we're getting the D&D set for Magic.
And I wasn't going to buy a single card. Like, look, I'm not a Magic the Gathering player. I was like, this set seems really cool, but I still don't play Magic the Gathering. And then they announced that they were releasing 4 Commander decks. And I was like, fuck you, I actually play Commander. Damn it.
You can use Xanathar as a commander.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Take my money. Like, it's... Yeah, and at Strixhaven, I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering.
I don't know anything about Strixhaven at all.
Strixhaven looks pretty cool. I mean, like, it's a bunch of schools of magic. I mean, like, that's right up my alley.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That seems cool. Ravnica, I think a lot of people took to real hard. Like, a lot of the D&D players were like, they were in it. They were loving it. Theros, that's definitely a niche market. You know, for those of us who grew up loving Greek mythology, that's the world for you. But yeah, Strixhaven, not a clue.
Strixhaven is like imagine Eberron, what Eberron is to Forgotten Realms. Strixhaven is that to Eberron. It takes that whole magic as an established science thing to the nth degree. Okay. And it's just everywhere. Like what if the average citizen was a 20th level wizard?
Christ.
I think it's cool. Yeah, the back in the day when I used to play Magic, I realized that I actually haven't seriously played Magic in 20 years. We made slivers as monsters in D&D because slivers in Magic are these horrible Lovecraftian abominations that give each other's powers when they're near each other. How many times can I say each other? And so we had to the nerdiest fucking thing I think I've ever done in D&D was that we made a sliding scale for challenge rating depending upon how many slivers you had in combat. And so we had an algebraic equation for figuring out the challenge rating of an encounter based on the slivers involved. Never again. Don't let your friends do math. Math was a mistake.
Don't let friends do math.
Yeah. Well, Thaco is wacko. Friends don't let friends hit against AC 0. Okay? We're beyond that now. We're better. We don't count backwards. Subtraction is not allowed. Only pluses. The numbers only go up.
There are no negative numbers in D&D anymore.
That's right. We don't even have save versus death effects as far as I know. Like, D&D is just nice to you now.
Yeah, I miss power word kill.
You say it's nice to you, but like
It's still in 5e.
I
No, no,
was
no.
I was running, like I said,
I'm
my
with you,
new
Baron.
campaign. I was running my new campaign for the first time last night, and I don't know if you've seen 5th edition Will-O-Wisps, but they will instantly kill a character. Period.
Look,
Yeah.
I
Which is super weird for the CR that they are.
Yes, I mean, like,
I
had about 5 characters, and like they had a chance at instant death.
I am someone who ran a game, put 2 monsters up against my group that was sufficiently leveled that they should have been able to take care of themselves, and I had to immediately nerf them because they would have died of old age.
Oh, yeah.
D&D can be mean, but pointing at somebody, saying die, failing your save, and just immediately dying no matter what your fucking level was is harsh. That's
Yeah.
Or
Fuck them kids.
or a monster turning and looking at you and you making eye contact with it, you have to make a death save or you immediately fucking die.
Yeah.
That's a
Gotta
pullback,
love-
right?
Gotta love nymphs.
Nymphs.
Oh, okay.
Sora, can I introduce you to a little monster I like to call a Bodak?
Oh, Bodak. Oh yeah, no.
Bodaks are
Nymphs.
rough.
Nymphs you go blind, Bodaks you die. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Power
even-
word kill, I think power word kill, I don't think players can get anymore, but it is still, if you have a less than 100 HP, you just die.
Yeah. But that's still like compliant on like your HP and stuff.
Mhm.
Originally, it was just like you fail a save,
Dead.
or even a Medusa. You fail your save, you don't get gradual to stone. No, you're just fucking stone.
You want to talk about mean? Pick any edition and throw a house cat against a group of commoners.
Well, in 5th, they don't deal lethal damage.
Let me
In
let me tell you a story about house cats or just cats in general. With my first D&D character, I found out very quickly that anything really does damage, at least 1 damage. And so I tricked my DM into letting me be just in love with cats and just start slowly collecting an army of cats, thinking they would at least do 1 point of damage per round, and then just send an army of cats at my enemies. It happened once, never again. She goes, "You're never going to use your cats in combat ever again." I'm like, I did it once. That's all I needed. Hank the Barbarian, lover of
And-
cats.
not D&D related, but when the so like I played World of Darkness. When that new World of Darkness came out and they released the stats for a house cat could fuck up damn near anything in that game. including like vampires and werewolves and just any. I mean, granted, I think a vampire and werewolf would eventually win the fight, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
That was the joke. I mean, so one of the Baron thinking of power word kill, the only difference between 5th edition and previous editions is that in 5th you can only do 1 character at a time. In previous editions, power word kill could be cast as a spherical AoE.
Ouch.
Look, I'm telling you, in 2nd edition, Lord Soth was no one to be fucking trifled with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, like, these kids these days don't have to deal with negative levels. You don't have to, like, you don't get into a fist fight with a vampire spawn and go from being a world-ending motherfucker to a noob in 5 minutes of 10
Just
rounds
going-
of a boxing match.
Just going from level 15 to 14 is devastating.
Yeah.
Devastating.
And I hope you've kept track of all the hit point changes.
Don't forget your con added to that too.
I know, right? Like, fucking Dracula just punched me in the jaw. Why? And why did I forget calculus? What the fuck just happened?
No, it's even funnier is when you get something that drains your con, and then you have to take into account your hit points after that.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. Fuck that.
Yeah, like stat drain, permanent stat drain, where you're like, oh, I didn't pass my save, and so this stat is now forever lower. Like nothing will ever bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like the restoration spell. It's like, no, gain levels to get your stats back. That's why we give you stat points every level, motherfucker.
Wasn't there even like a resurrection or raise dead spell or something like that where you came back and you lost a point of con or some shit like that?
Oh, it was worse than that. Every spell except for true resurrection.
That's what it was.
Every resurrection spell.
You lost a level, right?
You lost a level. The
Mhm.
only way in which you could keep your levels was reincarnate, and then you had to become a different race and different class of similar level. Like you
Mhm.
didn't get to pick. You rolled random for what your character became, but they had the same soul and memories when you came back. So you could be like, I was an elven wizard, and now I'm a badger who's a fighter.
I mean, that's still in 5e. Like resurrection is still
Francis.
like that in 5e.
It doesn't make you,
You lose a level?
permanent level. You do not permanently lose a level.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be
It was because like in previous editions as well, like magic item creation came out of your experience point pool.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So like that was the big thing about artificers in Eberron in third, is that they had a special stat for being able to spend it off of their pool because it was so punishing. And like there were a bunch of things like, again, like undead and whatnot. And that, you know, as we're talking about settings, there were a bunch of settings where they're like, oh, our setting is special because like you don't have to worry about level drain anymore because Dragon said so or whatever. Like, you know, I shit on Ghostwalk earlier, but that was the big draw, is that like you could make a DC 15 will save at death of any kind, and it didn't matter what level of resurrection spell your party cast on you because you willed yourself back into existence. There was no level drain. And so, you know what? I take it back. Ghostwalk fucking ruled for its time.
Yeah.
And you like
now you got 4th and 5th edition where they answered everything.
Guild Decree.
You know what? Guild Decree. Fucking Ghostwalk ruled. Ghostwalk was the best setting because it's the entire point of the setting was to shit on canon rules. And literally just be like, death effects are dumb. So here's a setting to literally the only thing about it is that it changes all of the base rules about death in D&D. Yeah, it's awesome.
And like I said, now you got 4th and 5th edition where the answer to everything is just take a nap and eat a sandwich. And you're fine.
Oh
about
god,
to do the hardcore rule for 5e where short rest is 1 night, long rest is like a week or something like that.
That'd be harsh.
It's actually a variant rule in D&D.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? I mean,
Yeah.
they at least upped the short rest from 10 minutes to an hour with
An hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they had a lot of people that were like, well, I'm going to go pee real quick and I get all my stuff back. And you'd be like, look, we don't reasonably have an hour. 10 minutes is very different.
Are we talking about piss games again?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I'm trying to think oh, you know what's funny? Also talking about campaign setting shitting on rules. They just did that with Ravenloft. They added more dimension hopping options for people being like, no, but I want another way to travel without having to have a spaceship or gate or plane shift. I want to be able to nap my way to new places. And so they added that spell that lets you sleep.
Can you imagine?
And you just take a
your way
nap.
through places, yeah.
Like, guys, I really wish I was in Dragonlance, and I feel like if I close my eyes and just imagine.
I mean, really, a nap is just time travel.
Because I would end up falling asleep and waking up at Ghostwalk, which is a great game.
Well, you went you could be great Ghostwalk in Dragonlance.
Oh.
Just don't take a nap and wake up in Rifts.
I mean, quite frankly, I don't want to wake up in Dragonlance either. It's a great world. I love it, but fuck living there. I don't want to live there.
I guess if that's a question, which D&D campaign setting would you want to live in if you had to live in one? You had to. And you can't be like, I want to live in the Earth where they go get the cudgel of St. Cuthbert.
Is it not canon? God damn it. No, I think
Eberron, I guess.
Yeah, Eberron, because that's the closest thing that I could think of that would be similar to what it is. But then again, there's the Dusk that I don't want to deal with them.
I would say Faerun because the odds of me being a superpowered adventurer are higher.
That's true.
Well, okay. So, I mean, only if you're putting it into account to the rest of the populace. But if you take Eberron into account, everybody's fucking magical at some aspect.
Well, I don't want that either.
You want to be special, but not. You want a better chance of being special.
Better than the goblins.
You want a better chance of those werewolves.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. or soloing that white dragon.
Right. I mean, that's where that white dragon is, right?
I don't know. I think they. Yeah. I think of more.
Oh, you know what? No, I changed my mind. Give me Council of Worms, so I'll wake up as a dragon.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, yeah. What was the one that had you wake up as a demigod ruler of a kingdom? What was that one? I forgot.
It was Kingdoms of something.
Yeah, I want that.
Are you talking
Kingdoms
about Birthright?
of Calamar.
Birthright.
Oh, yeah, it might be Birthright. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
It's Birthright.
yeah, totally. 100%. I wake up
fair too.
and be like,
but we can't all wake up there because we're all going to hate each other and want to fight. Oh, no, well, I guess we can make alliances and shit.
yeah, we could be like, y'all, truce. Yeah.
Fuck these other kingdoms, though.
The barony of Cain over here is fine. I got no problems.
So that's
guys
what
have this King Richard.
They just slap us in the different quarters of the map and we just work our way to each other.
Yeah, it's like an RTS. Like we're just playing Warcraft at that point, but we're the commanders.
Right. We'll work our way to the middle. We'll create a combined kingdom in the middle, and then we're good.
There you go.
And then the other kingdoms will be like, well, what the fuck? It's like, no, you what the fuck? And they're like, what does that even mean? I was like, I don't know.
The answer is don't fucking worry about it.
The answer is go fuck yourself.
I have it in the book right here. See?
I'm so glad that somebody got it because I could not get to the unmute button fast enough. It's like that. Fuck, shit, wrong button.
Aaron, I think you actually just described the generic plot of the MMO Dark Age of Camelot.
Yeah.
Like, what if we were all part of a kingdom fighting our way to the center?
Yep. I have friends that played that, and I didn't have a good enough computer to play it at the time, so I never got to really enjoy it, but I heard plenty about it, so yeah.
Man.
Now I want to play a good kingdom-based D&D game where the players are each like head of their own kingdoms or
It sounds like we need to run a game in Birthright.
Yeah, clearly. 5th edition Birthright. When is that going to happen? Wizards, get on it, you lazy fucks. The people have demanded Birthright for minutes now.
Minutes, yeah.
There's money you're leaving on the table. That's how you tell them they're leaving money on the table, and they're like, "Wait a minute, money?
Money?"
They would just laugh and be like, "Yeah, like you can't tell us anything Hasbro doesn't already know. We know how to just print that paper, son." But all right, I'm gonna at people on Twitter, top people at Wizards, and just be like, why haven't we had Birthright yet?
And then just link them to this podcast.
That's right. Look, we ranked. Just don't worry about it, but trust us, it's ranked. Birthright's at the top of the list, and we didn't worry about the specifics for anything after number 1.
Number 2, Council of Worms. Just saying. That's Guild Train approved.
Guild Train approved. Yep.
Baird, you ready to throw a bow on this thing?
Man, I don't know.
That's what you say every time.
Yeah, that's true. Go fuck yourself.
I didn't need my guild decree.
Oh!
Damn it! I don't know what to do. I have to. I even snuck the first one in, or the last one in, just right under the cusp. Guild decree. If you have the opportunity to solo White Dragon, call Baron and make sure you're not getting a sloppy seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Guild decree.
Or if you feel the need to go solo White Dragon, remember to bring protection.
No, hold on. Sorry. Rewind. If you ever find yourself about to solo a White Dragon, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Do. It's Baron.
Hey, my sword's already unsheathed. Let's do this.
Why is it glowing?
Hey, yo, that's not a sword. That's your dick in disguise.
It's closer to a dagger. Anyway, so man, I feel like there's a lot more.
There's so much more. We could go on for like another 2 hours about this topic.
Yeah, I mean, I glossed over my favorite ones because I talk about them enough, and then we got the loser worlds. Oh my gosh, so much. Not Ghost Walk. I'm not talking about Ghost Walk.
I know, but loser worlds, man, they're nothing but bangers the whole way down. Birthright, Kingdoms of Calamar, whatever that one was that they sold to Green Ronin.
That one that they sold to Green Ronin.
Non-stop hits, man.
I will say I will be checking out Blackmore after this.
If you want, oh man, I wish we could show people like on camera. I would go get my Blackmore book and just be like, look at this shit. Tragically, though, Blackmore was supposed to get a 4th edition release, but Dave Arneson passed away from cancer in the middle of its production. I don't know if I'm allowed to give it out, but one of my really good friends was
here we go.
No. Like I would have to ask for permission for this because I don't know where the rights sit for this. I probably am not allowed to like give this out, but one of my really good friends was actually working on it at the time. So he has all of the material for 4th edition Blackmore, and he was like,
your name right now. Finding out where you live and who your friends are.
Good luck.
The WotC SWAT team is coming in.
No,
this guy works in like data security, so like,
well, I mean, you could find me. That's easy, but it's like, you're not gonna know who on the team like handed it to me on the sly.
I feel like the WotC SWAT team should just be called SWATsies.
Look, man, I know like half the people that work there because of like years of interviewing folks. Like if they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
In the WotC SWAT?
Yeah. They're great folks. They come in with magic cards. They're like, all right, well, you done fucked up, and I'm like, aren't you guys just lawyers? They're like, no, we're rules lawyers. Untap, keep, draw.
They'll Yu-Gi-Oh your ass with magic decks. They'll be like, it's time to duel.
Like, fuck, guys, what format are we playing? I'm like, I don't know.
Go fuck yourself.
But yeah, it's actually one of the things I really want to see them. I want to push them to do, or see if they'll let folks like hand out that material for 4th, because it didn't get finished, and WotC's very protective of like unfinished material. But it was going to be good. That's all I can say about it.
If Ryan finds out he can release it, link in the description below.
Yeah,
if not, go fuck yourself.
But if not, no. Regardless, the link is in the description.
Oh,
maybe it's a Rickroll.
We should just make a little site that just says "Go fuck yourself."
Oh man.
I got After Effects, so we can make this happen.
Nice.
Rickroll in the background with just like him just going, "Go fuck yourself."
You D&D gamers out there, we here at the Casters Guild constantly tell you that you should go out and try something new. Well, if you don't want to and still want to keep playing D&D, guess what? You can still try something new. We went over a lot of these campaign settings, and as far as Wizards of the Coast is looking, it looks like they're going to keep pumping out campaign settings.
Yeah, pump it.
Pump it. So,
pump it real good.
So if you want, jump in the comments. Let us know what your favorite campaign world is. And then when we tell you that it sucks, you can tell us to go fuck ourselves.
Yeah. And if you have any great fan fiction for White Dragon to Werewolves and Baron, you can at me at, oh shit, what is my Twitter?
Or even a White Dragon with lycanthropy.
Yeah. At La Disco Disco, I will publish it on the Project Fed website as soon as I get that up. I promise. Bet top 5. We'll do top 5.
Top 5.
All right, guys. If anybody liked what you had to say and want to hear more from you, where can they find you on the internet?
I am at digital_lozenge on Twitter. Hit me up. No, I'm not going to give you secret shit that I've gotten over the years, but I will talk to you about anything gaming related, especially if it's Blackmore. By the way, you can download the PDF for Dave Arneson's Blackmore for $7.50 from DriveThruRPG.
Nice.
And I cannot recommend it enough. It is as great as Ghost Walk is. It's probably the most rich D&D campaign setting ever made.
Nice. And I am Anthony, also known as the Disco Daddy on the internets, at LeDisco Disco, LE Disco. But you can also find Phantom the Counter Table, Project FET for short. We are an inclusive nerd community of just general geek fuckery of every persuasion. A whole bunch of new stuff coming out here soon, including a fun Goofs and Gabs podcast D&D game, including our very own Guildmaster, Baron Kane.
Hello.
He's waving, but you can't see him. This is indeed a podcast.
Wait,
please email. No,
I really hope not. I've been naked.
Why am I not wearing
time.
pants?
I have literally been pointing my podcast
That's
at
just for
my soloed white dragon this entire time.
Oh, jeez.
I'm honestly surprised that nobody has said anything yet.
What were you?
We know it's audio. It's one of those things where if we brought it up, they'd be like,
"That's fair." Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
like why is this not an OnlyFans? For sure, I understand. There should be an OnlyFans called Podcast After Dark, where it's just like a whole bunch of people like actually recording their webcam. Never mind. Anyways, go ahead.
Email us at castersguild@gmail.com. Tell us how much you'd love to see a Casters Guild OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
I swear, one day we'll do it. I swear.
Find us on all the socials. Go get yourself some bath bombs at Geeky Clean. Use the link in the description or use discount code Guild Decree.
And
Clean
believe me,
that
after this podcast, you're going to need it.
Yep.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.